Dr. Kai Nakamura's eyes snapped open to a canopy of violet leaves swaying above him. The air was thick with humidity and the sweet scent of alien flora. This was the 23rd time he'd awakened in this exact spot, or was it the 24th? He was losing count. "Not again," he whispered, pushing himself up from the moss-covered ground. His research expedition to the planet Zahara had gone catastrophically wrong, but he couldn't remember how or why. All he knew was that he was trapped in an endless cycle, and each one ended the same way, with his death at the hands of an alien huntress. Kai checked his pockets. As always, he had his translator device, a small scanner, and a knife that had proven useless against her weapons. The jungle pulsed with bioluminescent light, casting eerie shadows across the undergrowth. Strange creatures chittered in the distance, but Kai had learned to recognize those sounds as harmless. It was the silence he feared. He moved quickly through the dense vegetation, trying a new direction this time. In previous loops, he'd attempted hiding, running, and even confronting her directly. Nothing worked. She always found him, her tall, lithe form emerging from the shadows like a phantom, 4 amber eyes gleaming with Hunter's purpose. The locals called her kind the Vashani. Apex predators evolved into a sophisticated warrior culture. This particular huntress, with distinctive silver markings across her azure skin, was named the Lara. He'd learned that during his 12th death when she'd proudly declared it before plunging her blade into his chest. A twig snapped behind him. Too soon, she was never this quick to find him. "I know you're there," Kai called out, turning slowly. "The Lara, right." She emerged from the foliage, 7 feet of deadly grace. Her head tilted in surprise. This was new. In previous loops, he'd never known her name this early. "How do you know me, human?" she asked, her voice a melodic rumble that his translator rendered into English. 4-fingered hands gripped a weapon that resembled a cross between a spear and a staff. "It's complicated," Kai replied, backing away slowly. "I know you're going to kill me, you always do, but I'm hoping we might talk first this time." The Lara's upper eyes narrowed while her lower ones scanned him for weapons. "Prey doesn't talk, prey runs." "I'm not prey," Kai said, standing his ground despite his pounding heart. "I'm a scientist. My name is Kai Nakamura. I'm from Earth." Something flashed across her features, curiosity, perhaps. This was farther than he'd gotten before. In previous loops, she'd attacked immediately. "You are an intruder in sacred hunting grounds," she said, circling him. "The trial demands your blood." "What trial?" Kai asked, seizing on this new information. "Please, I don't understand why this is happening." The Lara lunged forward with impossible speed. Kai tried to dodge, but her weapon sliced across his arm. Pain flared, hot and sharp. "Understanding is not required," she hissed, her face inches from his. "Only the hunt matters." Kai stumbled backward, clutching his bleeding arm. "Then why am I stuck repeating this day? Why do we keep doing this dance?" For a heartbeat, the Lara hesitated, her posture stiffening. "What deception is this?" "No deception," Kai gasped. "I've died by your hand more than 20 times. I keep coming back to this moment." Her weapon raised for the killing blow, but something had changed in her eyes, a flicker of doubt. "Impossible," she whispered. Then the blade descended, and darkness claimed Kai once more. He awoke again beneath violet leaves, the phantom pain of his death still echoing through his body. But this time something was different. A small object lay beside him, a carved token bearing the Lara's clan markings. The first change in the cycle, the first sign of hope. The carved token became Kai's talisman through dozens more loops. Each time he awoke, he'd clutch it tightly, a reminder that the pattern could be broken. By the 47th cycle, he kept meticulous mental tallies now. Kai had mapped the entire area, memorized the Lara's hunting strategies, and taught himself rudimentary phrases in the Vashani tongue. Today, he decided on a new approach. Instead of running or hiding, he sat cross-legged in a small clearing and waited, the token displayed prominently on his palm. "Mereshka Vashani," he practiced aloud, the alien syllables rough on his human tongue. "I respect your hunt." When the Lara emerged from the trees, her body tense with predatory focus, Kai raised the token. "You left this for me," he said in her language. "Across time, you're beginning to know me as I know you." All 4 of her eyes widened. She approached cautiously, weapon lowered slightly. "Impossible. I have never seen you before this day." "Yet you hesitate," Kai observed. "Something within you recognizes something has changed." The Lara circled him, confusion evident in her movements. How do you speak the sacred tongue? How do you know our ways? Because you've killed me 47 times, and each time I return. Each time I learn more. Kai stood slowly. The hunt has no end, the Lara. We are trapped together. She raised her weapon, but her strike lacked conviction. Kai could see the uncertainty in her posture. This deviated from every previous encounter. A terrible screech suddenly pierced the air. The Lara spun toward the sound, her body instantly alert. "Zarath beast," she hissed. "It hunts us both now." The massive predator burst through the foliage. 6 legs, razor-filled maw, and armored hide that glinted in the dappled sunlight. It charged directly at the Lara, who braced for impact. Without thinking, Kai shoved her aside and threw his scanner at the creature's face. The device exploded in a shower of sparks, momentarily blinding the beast. The Lara regained her footing and struck with her weapon, driving it back, but not before its claws raked across Kai's chest. Kai collapsed, blood seeping through his torn clothing. This was new, dying by something other than the Lara's hand. "Why?" she demanded, kneeling beside him as the beast retreated. "Why would you risk yourself?" "Because," Kai gasped, "maybe if we stop fighting each other, we can break the cycle." As darkness claimed him again, the last thing he saw was the Lara's face, all 4 eyes filled with something he'd never seen in them before: respect. When Kai awoke beneath the violet canopy for the 48th time, the Lara was sitting beside him, waiting. "You remember?" Kai asked, disbelieving, as he sat up beside the Lara. "Not exactly," she replied, her voice softer than he'd ever heard it. "But I dreamed of you dying for me. When I awoke, I felt drawn to this place." She extended her hand, revealing a matching token to the one he carried. "Something is changing the pattern of the sacred hunt." Over the next several cycles, they established a fragile truce. The Lara explained that she was a Krevnar, a champion chosen to undergo the trial of ascension. For generations, her people had sent their finest warriors to this region when strange outsiders appeared. The hunt was meant to prove their worthiness to join the ranks of the elite. "But the trial never ends for you," Kai noted as they made their way through the dense undergrowth, moving toward a structure the Lara had glimpsed in previous hunts but never explored. "No hunter has ever reported encountering the same prey twice," she admitted. "This defies our sacred texts." As days turned into weeks within their looping reality, their interactions took on new dimensions. The Lara taught Kai to move silently through the jungle. He shared scientific knowledge about the planet's unique ecosystem. Their bodies, so different in form, began to find harmony in movement. The first touch came during the 70th cycle, when the Lara guided Kai's hand to properly grip a Vashani hunting tool. Her skin was cool against his, textured like fine leather with an underlying softness. The contact lingered longer than necessary. "Your species values physical connection," she observed, not pulling away. "Yes," Kai admitted, "does yours." "The Vashani believe energy transfers between those who touch with purpose," she said, her lower set of eyes meeting his while her upper pair watched their surroundings. "Our warriors often bond through shared contact before battle." That night, as they made camp in a cave of luminescent crystals, the Lara pressed her palm to Kai's chest where the beast had wounded him in a previous loop. "I can feel your life rhythm," she murmured. "It speaks of your world, warm suns and shallow seas." Kai's hand covered hers. "What does yours say about you?" Her body shifted closer, the bioluminescent patterns on her skin pulsing gently. "That I am no longer certain what I hunt or why." Their first kiss was an exploration, alien anatomies finding unexpected compatibility. Her lips were cool at first, warming against his. Her four-fingered hands framed his face with surprising gentleness. When they finally reached the ancient structure, it revealed stone carvings depicting 2 figures, one unmistakably Vashani, the other humanoid, standing within a perfect circle, hands joined. "This is no coincidence," Kai said, tracing the worn symbols. "Someone designed this loop. We're not just victims, we're participants." "In what?" the Lara asked, her hand finding his. "A test," he replied, "not of hunter and prey, but of whether different species can overcome their nature to work together." As they deciphered more of the ruins, their bodies continued their own discovery, finding pleasure in the strange topography of their differences. Under twin moons, they joined completely, azure skin against tan, alien and human breathing as one. If we break this cycle, the Lara whispered against his neck afterward, will what we've built between us remain? Kai had no answer, only the warmth of her body against his and the weight of a question that transcended worlds. The ruins yielded their secrets slowly. Kai and the Lara pieced together the history of an ancient race called the Chronos, who had apparently seeded both their worlds millennia ago. The Chronos had created these temporal proving grounds to identify species capable of overcoming biological imperatives, potential allies against some cosmic threat. The carvings speak of a great alignment, the Lara said, translating symbols Kai couldn't decipher. Her upper eyes narrowed in concentration while her lower ones remained fixed on him. It was a look he'd grown to love, her complete attention divided perfectly between task and partner. According to my calculations, Kai replied, consulting his repaired scanner, the triple moons align tomorrow night. If the temporal mechanics described here are accurate, that's our window to break the cycle. They prepared methodically, gathering resources and mapping the path to the central chamber deep within the jungle. Their efficiency as a team had grown extraordinary, his scientific knowledge complementing her warrior instincts perfectly. That evening, beside a small fire, the Lara unwrapped a package of leaves to reveal a luminous blue paste. A bonding ritual, she explained. Among my people, those who face death together may choose to carry each other's marks. The paste tingled as she drew intricate patterns across Kai's chest and arms. These symbols represent protection, unity, and transcendence, she explained, her touch lingering. When she finished, the markings glowed faintly against his skin. My turn, he said, taking the paste. His strokes were less practiced but no less meaningful as he traced similar patterns along the contours of her body. She shivered under his touch. No Vashani has ever worn marks given by an outsider, she whispered. This is change that cannot be undone. Good, Kai replied, setting the paste aside and pulling her into his arms. I'm tired of undoing. Their lovemaking that night was deliberate, each touch a memorization of the other. Kai traced the bioluminescent patterns that flowed across her azure skin when she was aroused, a map of pleasure he'd learned to navigate through countless cycles. The Lara explored the strange warmth of human intimacy, so different from the cool efficiency of Vashani union. If tomorrow succeeds, she murmured against his shoulder afterward, what becomes of us? Your world and mine exist in different star systems. Then we'll find a way to bridge them, Kai promised, though uncertainty gnawed at him. Their bond had formed within the strange physics of the loop. Would it survive in normal spacetime? As dawn broke, possibly their last repeated dawn, they made their way toward the central chamber. The jungle seemed aware of their intent, throwing deadlier challenges at them. Twice they narrowly avoided death, saving each other with the practiced coordination of longtime partners. We were meant to be adversaries, the Lara observed as they reached the stone doorway to the inner sanctum. Now we move as one. Perhaps that's the true test, Kai said, taking her hand as they stepped inside. Not whether hunter can kill prey, but whether hunter and prey can become something else entirely. The alignment began at dusk, 3 moons creating a perfect triangle in the sky above the chamber's open ceiling. Light poured through ancient prisms, illuminating a circular platform where they stood, hands joined, their bodies marked with each other's symbols. The final trial had begun. The chamber rumbled as moonlight converged into a single beam at the center of the platform. Spectral images flickered around them, echoes of previous failures, hundreds of variations of themselves locked in eternal combat. Kai recognized his own face in many, dying again and again. The Lara saw herself dealing death repeatedly, trapped in the role of executioner. We're not the first, Kai realized aloud, but we might be the first to understand the purpose. The platform split beneath them, forcing them apart. A chasm opened, too wide to jump. On the Lara's side, a weapon materialized, more advanced than any she had carried before. On Kai's, a control panel activated, displaying calculations for escaping the loop alone. The final choice, the Lara said, her voice barely audible across the divide. Sacrifice the other to free yourself. Kai studied the panel, or trust that there's another way together. The chamber shook violently. The spectral images grew more frantic, showing the desperate choices of those before them. Betrayals, failed sacrifices, and solitary escapes that resulted in madness. Kai, the Lara called, raising the weapon. For a heartbeat, he feared she would revert to her hunter's nature. Instead, she turned it against the mechanism on her side of the chamber. Destroy your panel. Understanding dawned. Kai grabbed a stone and smashed the controls before him. Alarms blared as the chamber's failsafes activated, the chasm widening further. Now we have no way out, he shouted above the noise. No individual way, the Lara corrected. She backed up several paces, her powerful legs tensing. We jump together, trust in what we've built. Kai positioned himself at the edge of his platform. The gap seemed impossible, at least 30 feet across and growing wider. On 3, he called. They leapt simultaneously, bodies arcing through the charged air toward each other. Neither could make it across alone, but as they met in the middle, their outstretched hands clasped. The bonding symbols on their skin erupted in brilliant light, creating a bridge of energy between them. For one suspended moment, they hung in the void, neither falling nor safe, connected only to each other as reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the chamber imploded, light and matter collapsing around them. Kai felt the Lara's grip tight as the universe compressed to a single point of contact between them before expanding outward in an explosion of possibility. Kai awoke not to violet leaves, but to the sterile white ceiling of a recovery chamber. Medical monitors beeped softly nearby. He turned his head with effort to find the Lara in an adjacent bed, her azure skin pale but her 4 eyes alert as they found his. We escaped, she said weakly. A technician, neither human nor Vashani, but something else entirely, entered the room. Congratulations, the being said in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. You are the first successful candidates in 3 millennia of testing. Candidates for what? Kai asked, reaching across the space between beds. The Lara's hand met his halfway. For the Chronos Initiative, the being replied. Our ancestors created these trials to identify species capable of true cooperation, those who could overcome biological imperatives of predator and prey. You will be returned to your respective worlds as ambassadors, preparing your people for contact and alliance. Respective worlds, the Lara repeated, her grip tightening on Kai's hand. Separate. The technician nodded. Initially, the spatial distance must be respected for proper diplomatic protocols. After the technician left, the Lara turned to Kai, all 4 eyes shimmering with emotion. Our time together was real, but exists only in our memories now. Kai touched his chest where her markings had been, finding the pattern still faintly visible beneath his skin. Not just memories, he said. Whatever we built in there, it changed us fundamentally. I can feel it. 300 cycles, she murmured. More time together than most mates have in a lifetime. And not enough, Kai replied, bringing her hand to his lips. But perhaps it's just another kind of beginning. 6 months later, Kai stood in Earth's first interspecies diplomatic chamber as the arrival portal activated. His heart pounded as the air shimmered and parted. Diplomatic teams tensed around him, still uncertain about the alliance with a race known historically as apex predators. The Lara stepped through, resplendent in ceremonial armor that highlighted rather than concealed the marking pattern he had given her, now permanently etched into her skin, just as hers remained on his. Their eyes met across the chamber, professional decorum momentarily forgotten. Ambassador the Lara, Kai said formally, though his voice carried undertones only she would recognize. Welcome to Earth. Dr. Nakamura, she replied with equal formality, her lower eyes discreetly taking in every detail of him while her upper pair surveyed the room. I bring greetings from the Vashani Collective. As they clasped hands in the official greeting, the touch ignited the faint markings on their skin, visible only to them, a private reminder of cycles broken and remade, of hunter and prey who had discovered something far more powerful than either role alone. Some bonds, they had learned, transcended even time itself.